Hey guys, OGL Binary here, bringing you guys my NCP Nimbus or NCP Wi-Fi. I think it's Nimbus. Hold on, I should check that. NCP Nimbus Season 3 Draft Analysis. Now, if you're new to the channel, if you just came around APA, or honestly anytime in like the last 6 or 7 months, you wouldn't know this, but our first league that we ever uploaded onto the channel, my first league I ever uploaded onto here, was actually NCP's Nimbus Season 1. This is a league run by my good buddy John Jr. This is the league where I met a lot of my really good friends online that I really do love and appreciate. So this place holds a really special place in my heart. I'm really excited to jump back into it this time, kind of take it back to the roots, go back to where we started and stuff like that. So I'm really excited for that. Honestly, it's gonna be pretty cool. So this should be a good time. We have a pretty cool team this season, and I kind of want to just jump into it. Standard draft, I should just, say, I guess, what's kind of what the rules are and stuff like that. Standard draft, no Dynamax or Gigantamax or anything, which I am so excited for. I cannot stand that mechanic. I think it'll be a lot more fun, a lot more competitive and stuff like that. We have a great coaching lineup. Guys like John Jr. himself, we have like Ultra Player, Matt O'Shea, OB Jellison, guys that I personally really enjoy watching. Diet Tight, Shakewaza, what do you call it? D-Ray, the GOAT, is also in League, JV Westside. So there's so many cool people. Seabag, Crimson Seabag's actually in League too, which is awesome. So many people I love watching. I definitely recommend you go check them all out in the description below if you haven't done so already, because they're obviously doing other cool draft stuff and other cool content. So please go give them a look. But yeah, with that being said, let's just jump into the draft analysis. So we had the 8th pick overall, which sucks. It's an awful pick. I hate being stuck in the middle. I want to be at the top or I want to be at the bottom. I want to be close to that wheel. I either want to get something really cool at the top or get like a really cool synergistic wheel at the bottom. Stuck right in the middle. So my philosophy when drafting with a middle pick is going to be to grab the best Pokemon available. And it's coming around. I'm 8th pick. 6th pick and Zeraora is still there. I'm like, that would be fire. I think Zera's like top 3 in the format. Boom, goes 6th pick. I'm like, damn. But then I look, I'm like, yo, Big Melmetal is still there, and I'm so excited. I'm like, yo, I'm about to get pick 8 Melmetal, which is nuts. I love using this mod in NCP Showdown, actually, and I love to use it on Wi-Fi. Goes right before me. So the 2 mons I wanted the most out of this draft went right before me, which was so heartbreaking. But it came around to me, and it's another mon I've been wanting to try and generate drafts, especially on Wi-Fi. And that's going to be Hydreigon. Hydreigon fits, is just a really good, I said fits the team well. It's the only Pokemon on the team, so it fits the team well. It's a really easy mon to build around, man. This thing does so much, especially with getting Nasty Plot and Dragon Dance this gen, being a setup threat on both sides, getting access to Roost again because of being post home, U-turn, defog. It gets access to like crazy coverage. Can hit the fairy types that really hate it with Flash Cannon, which is obviously really nice. Plus 2 Flash Cannon stings against these type of mods. And it doesn't have to be setup. It can still be Scarf, it can still be Specs, it can still be Life Orb 3 attacks with Roost, a bunch of different things like that. I love Hydra. It gets access to Taunt, so bulky Toxic Taunt Hydra sets are obviously really good as well. I really love this Pokemon. I think it's phenomenal, and it's a great starting point to kind of build our draft around. So round 2 was coming up, and it got back to me after, right about the same amount of picks, about 8 picks. Came back around to me, and I was looking at the board, seeing what was left, seeing what I could pair with Hydra, and I saw a Pokemon up at the top, that was pretty expensive, so it was going to put me in a pretty big deficit points-wise, which is unfortunate, but I just couldn't pass it up, being the offensive presence that it gave me, and that is going to be Gengar. Now, we had Gengar in GDL, really enjoyed it. I don't think I used it to the best of its capabilities, but I think Hydreigon plus Gengar is a disgusting offensive core, and it is so hard to switch into. They break for each other offensively so phenomenally. It's amazing. Gengar obviously just destroying those defensive fairies that Hydra doesn't appreciate, and Hydra really taking on those ghost types that Gengar doesn't like. Also being able to pivot in and take knockoffs and things like that, being able to beat those mons 1v1 is really cool. Good defensive synergy, and the fact that Hydreigon can not only take those dark moves but also take those ground moves because of its levitate ability, and then Gengar being able to pivot in on fighting moves, pivot in on fairy moves. It's not the bulkiest thing in the world, but being able to pivot in on those moves is obviously really nice. Gives me great offensive synergy though, especially just Hydra U-turning in as the Sylveon comes in, and then Gengar coming in, throwing off a Life Orb, Sludge Wave, or something like that. Got access to Nasty Plot this gen, which is really cool. Doesn't use it all that often just because of its relatively frail bulk, but it's still an option nonetheless. Gets access to Taunt, has crazy good coverage on top of its dual stat with like Focus Blast, Thunderbolt, things like that, Energy Ball, Dazzling Gleam, a bunch of moves. 110 speed tier, which is obviously really nice. It gives us pretty good speed already, being able to have that 98 with Hydreigon, and then something faster than those base 100s and tying the other 110s of the format in Gengar, which is obviously really cool. So I think Gengar is going to be amazing with Hydreigon in particular, and I'm hoping that they really just punch holes through teams this season. So round 3, we ended up grabbing Slurpuff, and I know you're thinking, Slurpuff, round 3. Yes, we grabbed Slurpuff round 3. I know it's very, very early, but just based on how the draft was going, a lot of the fairy types were going with Wildfire at this point. And with how much points I had already spent, I did not want to have to drop money on a Togekiss or something high up there in points like that. And I needed a fairy, and I thought Slurpuff fit really well, and I could not risk it getting sniped, so I ended up grabbing it round 3. Really, really early, but a really solid mod nonetheless. It gives me Sticky Web support for Hydra Gengar, which is obviously great. Speed control is going to be the name of the game with this team, especially with Hydra Gengar being able to pace those Scarfers, being able to pace those faster Mons. Really, really solid for us. Also gets access to the Belly Drum Unburdened stuff because this is post home again, so we have a Belly Drum Sweeper, gives us access to Wish, has access to Calm Mind stuff too. So this mod isn't just going to be Belly Drum or Sticky Web. It has defensive utility. It gives me Wish. It gives me some cool stuff like that. Cotton Guard is a really fun set. Great special coverage in like Flamethrower and Surf and Dazzling Gleam and Energy Ball and all that cool stuff. And obviously Belly Drum's a big threat with the Unburden and all that good stuff. So I really like Slurpuff for the team. It's very early grabbing it, but I figured I couldn't really, really risk it getting sniped, all that stuff. So I'm not, I'm honestly completely happy with the pick. I'm really glad that we ended up getting Slurpuff. Round 4, we nabbed Virizion. Now, Virizion is really, really cool for this build. I like it a lot just because of the fact that, Slurpuff obviously breaks the dark types for us to an extent, but if it's a bulkier set, it doesn't necessarily break through them well. And I wanted something that could definitively break through dark types because those can potentially be a problem for Hydra Gengar. Obviously, Hydra not taking super effective damage from them, but obviously not doing a lot with his stab in return, and Gengar just not appreciating them at all. I think Virizion really helps. It gives me a knockoff switch, and that's not Hydra as well, which is really, really cool. It gives me good speed. It gives me a ground resist, which I do not have up to this point, which is awesome. Really bulky Spadef Bond. 108 speed is a lot better this gen just with how relatively slow everything is in the metagame and stuff like that. Access to Swords Dance and Calm Mind and stuff like that can be great with an AV. I really like Virizion. It's a mod I've drafted before, and I think it holds a lot of utility. It can really help this team in breaking the things that Hydra Gengar don't appreciate, and it's also another great mod under webs if we have like an SD set, something like that, or even a Calm Mind set. So yeah, that's going to be a round 4 pick in Virizion. Round 5, we have Big Bronzong, my boy Bronzong. I love this Pokemon. Much like the fairy types, the steel types were going like a rapid fire up to this point, and I know that I needed mine, and I think Bronzong fits very well. It gives me Stealth Rock, which I don't have up to this point. It gives me a Fairy Resist, which is not Gengar, which I think is really, really big, especially with Hydra Virizion, obviously on the build, which is really nice. It gives me a Trick Room aspect if I do draft some slower stuff later on, but it's mainly here just to be a nice bulky Steel type, to get up rocks for us, be that Fairy Resist, and just be generally annoying, just like Bronzong usually does. So I'm sure you guys know what it does with the Levitate, obviously being immune to the ground type moves, and Heat Proof really helping out fire type moves. Really bulky, really annoying, and kind of does exactly what I needed to on this team. As you can see, for round 6, we ended up picking up Cloyster. Now, like I was saying before, fairy types were going like crazy, steel types were going like crazy, but even more so were bulky waters, and I got sniped on about every bulky water that I wanted in this build. It was absolutely insane. I wanted Milotic, I wanted Vaporeon. All those mods ended up going before me at some point, so I had to jump on Cloyster. While Cloyster isn't necessarily a traditional bulky water, it's still really fat on the defensive side, and it gives me hazard control, which I think is really big, not forcing Hydra into a defog role when we need a defogger, which is obviously super, super cool, giving me spin. Also gives me spikes and T-spikes, which I did not have up to this point, so we can go for a hazard stack approach, which Hydra and Gengar definitely very much so appreciate, especially the T-Spike support, honestly. So that's obviously really, really good for us. It can still be that Shell Smash Sweeper with the skill link and stuff like that, but also just a really good bulky water with like heavy duty boots and things like that. We can always wish it up with Slurpuff. Really, really cool mod. I think it's not necessarily like, your traditional bulky water, but it can do a lot of work for me in other ways while still serving as like a pseudo bulky water, being able to check those mods that, waters do and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's going to be Cloyster. Now, round 7 came along, and we really needed a ground type, so I ended up picking up Sandaconda. I think Sandaconda actually offers a lot for this team. While we don't necessarily have any sand to really use that sand spit ability, I like that Sandaconda obviously stops the Volt Switch spam versus gives us another Stealth Rocker, which we only have Bronzong up to this point. It also gives Glare support, which I think is really, really big for this team. Like I said, speed control is going to be the name of the game with this build, with Hydra Gengar really being the core around our offense. So being able to slow things down is super, super, super big. Also gets access to Coil, which can be really cool with its Shed Skin ability, so we can run like Coil rest sets, you know, be able to shake off burns and, you know, sleep turns and stuff like that, and be able to throw off some nice strong earthquakes and stone edges and stuff like that. So I think Sandaconda really fits in the fact that it gives us good speed control, it gives us a rocker, it gives us a ground type. It fits, it really ticks all the boxes I really wanted from this thing. So it's pretty solid for the team. Now for round 8, we ended up grabbing my boy Raboot. This is Libero Raboot, by the way, so we will be able to use that this time, even though it is unreleased. Really solid mod. It has a pretty solid speed tier, and I believe base 90 something. Hold on, I was just looking at it in the draft stream. 94, so decent speed tier, good Scarfer, gets access to U-turn and Flare Blitz and high jump kicks, Sucker Punch, a lot of the cool stuff that Cinderace gets, but you know, just a little bit less broken. I really like Raboot though. I think it's going to be a really solid pick. It's a nice Scarfer. It gives me a fire type to break through steel types a little bit better, which we don't necessarily do the best job of up to this point. So I think that's really good for us. And again, I really like having that just that that U-turn initiative. Oh my gosh, pivoting ability and all that good stuff. So I think Raboot's a pretty cool lower tier mon to really help us break the things that we don't appreciate up to this point. Round 9, we ended up, unfortunately, having to draft Jolteon. Now, I say unfortunately because I think Jolteon is awful this gen, just due to the fact of the loss of hidden power and this thing's awful coverage. However, we needed the speed tier, and I originally wanted Boltund really bad, but it went right after I picked Raboot. So, unfortunately, I really wish I would have picked up Boltund before I picked up Raboot, but nothing I can do at this point, unfortunately. Jolteon gives me a really good speed tier, outspeeding those base 115s, those base 120s that my team did not otherwise do. Gives me electric type and electric immunity. Gives me dual screens. This league, we can use baton pass as long as it is not passing a sub or any stats or anything like that. So it's obviously good for initiative. Not the best Pokemon in the world, if I'm gonna be completely honest, but it fits the roles we needed to fit, and we're running low on points, so we needed something to be fast, and that's what Jolteon's here for. Now with our final pick, we ended up picking up Young Veinster, the Girder, my boy Jason. Really excited to use this one again. I've drafted it a million times in Gen 8, it feels like, but I think it's really solid. It gives me another defogger, as funny as it is, which I do appreciate the hazard control, because up to this point, I only have Cloyster and Hydreigon, so having a third form is obviously really nice. It's great with bulk up, really strong mod, really bulky with the Eviolite as well. Just a really reliable low tier mod. I think it fits the team pretty well, and breaking those dark types. Obviously, we do have double fighting, but I don't think that's the biggest deal in the world, because Virizion and Girder are often going to do different things. Where Virizion's going to be that breaker most week, Girder is more so meant to be a bulky pivot. Be really annoying, maybe throw some bulk up. So yeah, that is going to be our draft. I have like a sneeze coming on. I'm really trying to wrap this up before I sneeze, because I don't want to sneeze on camera. But that's going to be our team. I think it's really solid. We do really rely on Hydra Gengar, so we're going to have to really build our teams around supporting those two and facilitating wins through them, but I don't think that's the hardest thing in the world, because they are so good in themselves. So yeah, that's going to be the team. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like, let me know that you did enjoy it, and if you're new here, be sure to subscribe so you can catch our games as they go up every week, this as well as APA made Wi-Fi. So definitely lots of draft league content going on the channel. If that interests you, be sure to stick around. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Check out all the coaches in the description below, and I will see you guys with the next one. Later.